2.
So before you, the reason it's a scene 2 is because the batteries ran out, and now we're doing another one. So, and it stopped at a really spot.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
So yes,
Or
the
a
thing
doof moment.
the thing that my wife found hard about it was that it had been going on for so long without her knowing. It was behind her back, and it was the deceit thing. And I think that was the biggest thing. But there is no when to come out, if to come out, is a judgment call. Yes, it would be nice as soon as we know to be truthful. Sometimes it takes a long time for us to actually know, and to know whether this is worth sacrificing a marriage for.
I have a friend who's transgendered, and they recently came out to the wife, but they came out as a cross-dresser rather than transgendered, because they've been happily married for over 45 years. They've got a massive family. They've got, it's like the roots of a tree, isn't it? It spreads out and spreads out and spreads out. And she said that even though she would love to be her authentic self and live full time as a girl, it's not, to her, it's not worth losing everybody, potentially losing everybody she loves for it. So she just, it's really sad actually, so she just gets to be herself a couple of times a year. And the wife's okay with that now, because she thinks, she's under the impression that the friend is a cross-dresser rather than transgendered. And she can deal with that.
I felt often actually that my ex-husband was only feeding me enough that he felt I could deal with. You know, drip feeding me a bit.
And how did that make you feel?
Like he didn't trust me. He didn't know me well enough to understand that I would have done everything I could. And I did for a long time. Do everything I could to make it easier for him, and so that we could continue to be, you know, a couple. I didn't want to leave him at the time, but circumstances over the years just changed.
Yeah.
And I think at the time that you come out as well, there are some things that you can't answer. So the usual questions are, well, are you gay then? Do you fancy guys? Do you want to be a woman? Do you want to transition? Do you want to take hormones? And at the time that you
It's all actually nobody else's business.
Well, it's kind of relevant to the wife.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a lot of other people ask those questions,
They do,
and that's none of their business.
No,
but yeah,
I
the wife
totally
has,
agree.
has an invested interest.
Yeah.
And at the time that you can't answer those things necessarily. And I firmly believe that you have to reach a certain point before you can make decisions about the next stage. So for me it was always, well, I had to reach the stage where I went to a dressing service and dressed and was made up before I knew exactly how that felt and whether I wanted to go further with this. And at the time that I came out at home, I didn't know whether I wanted to transition, because that was never ever a consideration being in the closet. So I think you do things in stages, and actually
It's like one battle at a time,
yeah,
isn't it?
so the information that you give to your partner when you're coming out isn't necessarily how you're going to end up. And then that's seen as a further betrayal because you've told them something that's now not true 3 years down the line. So yeah.
So the question I asked that didn't get answered in the last clip, may I ask it?
Dysphoria. You can. Yes, please. That would be
So-
really nice.
Could you just explain what gender dysphoria is, and if and how it has changed having come out, having told your wife, and being with Ange.
Okay, so gender dysphoria is the tension that is created between who you are inside your head and who you are outside. So, yes, so inside you are Liz Hurley, outside I'm a balding old git, basically. So it's that tension. So I think the first time that what I was going through before I came out, yes, there was a dysphoria. But again, I hadn't reached the point where you have to make decisions, and therefore kind of you accepted it. I think that being in the closet, the biggest problem then was I couldn't be Faye enough. It wasn't that I wanted to be a woman, and have the surgery, etc., etc., and all of those things, or hormones. It was just, I need to be Faye more. So after I came out, then those sorts of things kind of raised their head, and I think what you're aiming for, what most of us are aiming for, is a point that we can be happy, and that might be reassignment surgery, it might be taking hormones, it might be just dressing twice a week, but having all of the feminine things around you. You reach a point where you are happy. It's usually striking a balance between what you want and on the other side your relationship with other people. So when we separated and I moved into a flat on my own, I think the main driver there was, well, okay, I'm on my own. Now I need some relationships, not necessarily a long-term sexual relationship, but relationships with people around me. So you start gathering people. So it's really still not, do I want to go the whole way with this? So now we are together. It kind of brings on a sort of different aspect, because I can dress however I like. I can dress male, female, half and half. It doesn't really matter. In fact, in reality, I am in a big fluffy pink dressing gown pretty much day and night. You remember the dressing gown?
I do remember the dressing.
So I haven't got that problem. So then it moves.
I'm impressed you've still got it.
Oh, it's great.
It is. I do sneak it away and wash it every now and then.
Every now and then. So now it's a kind of slightly different aspect, and I've reached a point where I think the dysphoria is there. It is definitely there. Hormones to reduce that, possibly, yes, that's an avenue that I'm going down. Do I want to go for surgery? No. But I was describing what I felt to a counsellor at GIC. We are going to do a separate thing on GIC. And I said, well, I kind of feel like a fraud either way. I feel a bit of a fraud dressed as Faye because what is underneath is male, and I feel a bit of a fraud dressed as a male because what's inside isn't male. So it's kind of whatever mode you're in, there's a kind of dysphoria going on. I don't know the answer to that one. I mean, I have to say that Angie's been amazingly supportive. She will go out with me in whatever I want to wear. Probably be a red line somewhere. I haven't found it yet.
We went to Amsterdam, didn't we? And we took...
Yeah.
unfortunately, you worked very well, so you didn't really feel like being anything, did you?
No,
So you ended up being somewhere halfway between.
yeah, a bit of a, yeah.
But you hadn't taken any male clothes with you.
No, which was a mistake. Because when you're,
So I learned from that experience to always to tuck something in that is less
you have
female.
to rephrase that.
to
Tuck
always,
something in that's less female is a good tip.
yeah, to always take something with us for that eventuality, so that if you needed, you know, t-shirt and tracksuit bottoms that weren't quite as feminine, they were there, but you didn't have to worry about taking them. So it's kind of a backup policy for you, really, as if you just really didn't want to be there. But on the way here, I was asking the question, you know, do you feel like you know you can be Faye as often as you want to, and do you feel you have to rein it in for me, even though I know all about Faye, I mean, and I've you know met you as Faye to start off with, and you know you want to, because we had that conversation the way here, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't feel any restrictions on how I dress or act at all. And I think with the journey, and this sounds like I'm an expert on the journey, but I'm not.
You're an expert on your journey.
I'm an expert on my journey. I'm not sure I'm an expert on my journey. But
Let's pretend we are.
but it's little things. So sometimes you take for granted where you are and where you started, and you know when you look back, I'm so much better off now than you know 15 years ago, just dressing once a month in stuff that I've hidden in a cupboard. And I know, to be honest, I didn't ever think that I would leave that closet. So,
To me, you're Faye. It doesn't matter what you're wearing.
Mm.
And I think, from an observation point of view, that it's not that you get to be Faye more. You are Faye.
of course.
It doesn't matter what clothes you're wearing. I mean, to be honest, you act the same way even if you've got man clothes on. There's no differentiation.
No.
You are Faye, but you have to present male in the world sometimes.
Yeah.
So like I said, from observation, I think that Ange just loves Faye.
Mm. I love this person.
Yeah, and all
Everything.
and whatever you're wearing
Yeah.
is irrelevant.
Yeah.
And whatever you're wearing doesn't make you more or less Faye. I understand that it can make you feel a certain way, because we dress certain ways to feel different ways. But whether you're in jeans, a suit, fluffy, whatever, you are still Faye.
No, I do actually totally agree with that. And when I was having counselling, there was a point where I was not referring to her as Faye, as her, but as I. And if I used that phrase, it was in kind of the wrong context, because they were the days when I was male and looking forward to being Faye for a day.
Yeah.
Whereas no, in a way it's kind of constructed, because I'm me, whoever, and I'm quite happy with all of the different aspects of me.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I still tend to view a bit of polarisation as male or female is kind of a bit beside the point, really. And that's how the rest of society sees us, whereas in fact we shouldn't, or they shouldn't, and we shouldn't. It just sometimes it creeps in. It does creep in.
Didn't mean to
Because you're
throw you
not-
off.
No, I'm okay being told off. I was married for a lot of years.
Oh.
Got used to it.
I got used to it. So, I can't remember the question now.
I think you answered it.
That's handy.
So, I've discovered that every sentence I starts with the word so. And I
I've
just
really
don't
got into
know how
that.
to get out of it.
But I even write it in emails. So, no.
I hate the word. I used to take the mickey out of people who did that. Anyway, so we're at the end of this one. We are going to talk, Faye and I are going to have some lunch, and then we're going to make another one about your experiences with the gender clinic. Is there anything you would like to leave our lovely members with?
No, you mentioned lunch, so it's all over now.
It's all over.
It's all done.
You mean your second lunch?
Second lunch.
She's a hobbit.
She's a hobbit. You're hobbitses.
She's got hobbit's feet, haven't you, dear?
Yes.
Don't.
So, is there anything you would like to leave our members with?
I don't know.
Because you're in the position that most trans women dream of.
Yeah, to have a loving relationship that is completely open to each other I suppose there was one thing that crossed my mind, is that my friends were quite worried, because obviously I told my friends about Faye, and I've got one particular friend that I've been friendly with my whole life, and she was saying, but what if she transitions? And I said, at the moment, I don't know the answer to that question, and Faye knows this.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said I don't know the answer to that question, would we still be together? But I suspect we will. If we would. Because I, for rightly or wrongly, I see her as a person more than I see her as a man or a woman. And that person is the person that I want to be with, the person that I love, the person that I share my home with, and my life with. And that's really important. I think we should, almost allude to what you were saying, is that we should drop away from that maleness or femaleness or whatever, and just treat each other as people and personalities.
So nice.
And I try to. And I don't get it right all the time, I know I don't. And even outside of my home, the home life that I have, I sometimes get it wrong as well. But I try.
I never get it. No?
No, I do. I misgender you sometimes.
I misgender everyone.
Faye's been misgendering my cat for 7 years.
The cat. One of my best friends, I misgender all the time.
But the thing
I'm
is,
just
when
rubbish at remembering things.
Oh, and also it's easy when you're having a time when you're sort of presenting as male. So if I'm talking about a time where we've experienced something and you are presenting as male, and that experience was with the male persona, I think of that as I was with him. And when we've been out together, and I would say, oh well, her, because we're doing this, because that's the person I'm presented with, I suppose, which is possibly.
But then that's what we tell people all the time, is like, how do I talk to, well, you redress the person in the gender they're portraying. So
yes,
we can't sort of tell people that and then tell them off for doing it.
yeah.
I call her he all the time.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank Faye. Thank you very much, my darling.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to thank Angie. Thank you very much, my love.
You're very welcome.
For driving all the way up to sunny Fearing. It is sunny actually. It's quite warm on our
It's
toes.
lovely.
And bringing lunch. So yeah, well, again, like I said, we're going to do another one after lunch where Faye and I are going to talk about the GIC and all that, and all that stuff. So that's it from us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.